for coming. Welcome. Because when we first started, we were really mainly thinking about education and mentoring services for our children, our youth, and to assist low-income families and people of color with any problems or concerns they might have and access any services. And so we realized this was a major, major problem, and we needed to put a lot. So here we are. We've had many meetings. We have community meetings where we address environmental injustices. We have had many meetings with Environmental Protection Agency and many agencies in the Raleigh-Durham area that are here to help communities and institutions. We have a really hard time getting local government to care about the we've been to county commissioners meetings, and we've made presentations, and we've had newspaper publications, and we've talked to county commissioners individually to let them know our concerns about the problems we have. And we have so far we've been to Raleigh a lot, to legislative meetings, and we've had rallies on the lawn, as Saladin knows about, in Raleigh. And state representative and our senator have not supported us at all in the past, because they were, and still probably are, owners of industrial hogs. We're doing some work right now with the workers. One of the major things we're trying to see how the workers are affected by environmental issues, the contamination on the farms from the animals and the air, etc. We have a relationship with the North Carolina Legal Aid, and a staff person from there, a lawyer from up there, Devon's been helping him with going out and talking to some of the workers.
We have been doing the last, I guess, 3-4 months. We've been doing some things with commercial. Roughly 100 livestock workers, that's pork, beef, and poultry. And also probably 100 or more people that work on the sustainable side of, livestock production. So with those swabbing, it's going to be interesting what we're finding. Of the first 38 samples that we've taken, 6% of them test positive. So not commercial. That's metacellular-resistant staphylococcus. So the bacteria itself, because the workers around working with these animals, that's been injected daily. So eventually, you're creating superbugs. Also, have done some water sampling, checked for arsenic in the surface waters. We've checked for fecal coliform, E. coli, anacoccuses, and the MRSA gene in surface waters, which is creeks and streams. And we'll get on the road in a few minutes. I can point out some of these streams that you can clearly see and the way it's agitated in the lagoon before it's pumped out. When that big gun throws it up high and probably 60, so that's all the more the safer spray field, because the sprinkler heads are lower to the ground. So when it's spraying, it's not as but you still have particulate matter.
It's tobacco.
Well, see, now in your corn and soybeans, they spray the hog waste on your corn and soybeans, but not on tobacco. Oh. It's used as fertilizer. I live here, and when I see what's happening to people, my friends, my neighbors, my family, then someone has to take up the cross and say, hey, look, when you look at the only work available in these barns, and realize it's making people sick, it's killing people. I've got children and grandchildren, and if not for me, people got to have fixed in their mind that this thing can happen overnight. They want a microwave change. Right. There's no such thing. In order for the industry to stay in power, they have to pit one group against the other. Blacks against the Latinos. They're taking our jobs. And when they're in the tobacco field, no insurance. The way they have to work in the heat or when it's raining, and when the weather's bad, they can't work, they don't get paid those days. And with the housing they have for them, no, they're not taking my job. I don't want to go back to it. So we had to educate ourselves, educate our communities, and whenever you hear things like that. Set the record straight.
My name is Justin Flores, and I work with the Farm Labor Organizing Committee. We're a labor union of thousands of farm workers in North Carolina and the Midwest. Focus largely on our organizing model, on organizing from the bottom up, and also simultaneously from the top down. Getting some of the largest multinational corporations that purchase agricultural products from all these farms you see around here to come to the table to improve the conditions of the workers working in these farms. We're excited that GGJ was able to come to North Carolina, the site of so many other great thing about GGJ is the recognition that a lot of these local issues are interconnected, both nationally, similar to the way that we fight over a small piece of the pie while forgetting about where most of the pie goes. The same goes for militarization, huge military budgets, and at the same time we see that there's less and less investment in a green economy and in local economies. So I think all those things are interconnected, and we're excited about the proposal. We're excited about our campaign on the ground here. We're continually trying to be out in the fields. What you guys will see later on today are the conditions that farm workers live in, which are some pretty terrible conditions, and we're continually trying to organize on the ground and get these large corporations to the table to do something about the conditions in their supply chain. And all these things are all sort of mixed up. Obviously, maybe not obviously, the majority of farm workers in North Carolina and in the country are undocumented. So there's obviously these issues of free trade agreements and immigration and other issues such as that, militarization. It really all comes together. So, we're continually doing our work here on the ground, trying to hold these corporations responsible. And we look forward to, continuing to work with other grassroots groups from around the country on some of these more big picture and national and international things. We've been working, our international work has been a little more focused on the recruitment of farm workers, largely in Mexico, but from other countries. A lot of the guest worker program, are somewhat regulated here in the U.S., but the recruiters on the other side of the border, and the coyotes and the things that are happening over there are really just completely unregulated. So most of our international work is on the Mexico side of the border, from the immigration coming up to work in the fields, and also internationally trying to get some of these multinational corporations to take responsibility for what's going on the other side of the border as well as here in the fields. These types of convenings are great to really get to know other folks doing work and get to know what's going on and see how we can work together. Our model of organizing has always put a lot of emphasis on educating and organizing the community as well as farm workers and making sure that we're all in this together. If we want to put enough pressure on these large companies and these large corporations and government policy, we really need to have a united front and work together. So we're excited to see everybody come from around the country to get involved and learn about what's going on in North Carolina and tell us what's going on